This is the brave tale of Skillywidden. Once upon a time, there was a piskie called Skillywidden. A piskie, mind you, little chap no more than a foot high, with two great owly eyes, a long snouty nose, and a waggly old beard. Skillywidden sat himself under a hedge in the sunshine and practised his crowdy crawn. Is what? A crowdy crawn is a piskie's drum, and Skillywidden rattled away, beating up the rhythms, ready for the next fairy revels. But strolling down the other side of the edge was an old boy from Trewartha called Dickie Stoggs. Dickie thought he knew all there was to know about piskies, and when he heard that beat, he thought, hang on, there's a piskie playing his crowdy crawn. Best take a geek. And he peered over the top of the edge. Sure enough, there sat Skillywidden, no more than a foot high, with two great owly eyes, long snouty nose, and a waggly old beard, playing the crowdy crawn. Dickie crept up on that piskie, just like a cat stalking a mouse, made a sudden grab, and had him in his hand. "Oh, dear me! My dear life, you startled me, sir. What is it I can do for you?" pipes the piskie. "Well," says Dickie Stoggs, "you can start by telling me where your gold's id to." And Dickie looked so fierce and frightening, Skillywidden had to tell him. "I've hidden it, sir," says the piskie, "in a sack." "All right," says Dickie. "So where's the sack?" "I've hidden it, sir," said the piskie, "in a great busser." Now a busser is an earthenware pot, you see. "All right," says Dickie. "So where's the busser?" "I've hidden it," said the piskie, "in a hole." "All right," says Dickie. "So where's the hole?" "I've hidden it," said the piskie, "under a tree." "All right," says Dickie. "Where's the tree?" "I've hidden it," says the piskie, "up Coosevere Wood." Now, Dickie knows where Coosevere Wood's to, and catching hold of that piskie tight in his fist, he sets off. Dickie never took his eyes off that piskie, though he had to cross edges and ditches and quaking bog. They hadn't got very far before the piskie chirps up. "Dickie, while you're wasting your time here with me, your cows have got into your cornfield. Stank the crop flat. 'Twill be ruined unless you go home right now and sort it out." When he heard this bad news, Dickie nearly dropped the piskie there and then to rush back home, but hang on a minute. This is a tricksy old piskie we're dealing with. You don't believe everything a piskie tells you, do you? "You can just tell Tavis," says Dickie Stoggs, which means hold your tongue. "I ain't having any of your tricksy piskie business. You'm just trying to stop me getting that busser of gold. Now where's she hid to?" And he looked so fierce and frightening, and squeezed him so tight, that Skillywidden had to show him the way. Dickie never took his eyes off that piskie, though they had to cross edges and ditches and quaking bog. After a while, the piskie chirps up again. "Dickie, 'tis your sheep. They'm out the fold, disappeared to the four winds. You'll never see them again, unless you go home right now and sort it out." "I've told 'ee once, and I've told 'ee twice." "No, I've told 'ee once, and I'm telling 'ee a second time. Tor Tavis," which means hold your tongue. I ain't having any of your tricksy pisky business. You'm just trying to stop me getting that busser of gold. Now, where's she hid to? And he looked so fierce and frightening, and squeezed him so tight and rattled him so hard that Skillywidden had to show him the way. Dicky never took his eyes off that pisky, though they had to cross edges and ditches and quaking bog. As they drew near the wood, the pisky chirps up for a third time. Dicky, 'tis your thatch. The roof of your cottage has blown right off, and all your possessions are dancing in the wind. I have told 'ee once. I have told 'ee twice, roared Dicky Stoggs, and I am telling 'ee a third time. Tar Tavis, which means, oh, you know what it means. I ain't having any of your tricksy pisky business. You'm just trying to stop me getting that busser of gold. Now, where's she hid to? And he looked so fierce and frightening, and squeezed him so tight, and rattled him so hard, and banged his head so many times off the ground, that Skillywidden had to show him the way. Dicky never took his eyes off that pisky till they came to the wood. Now what did Dicky see? Trees, trees, trees. Hundreds and hundreds of trees. And they all look the same to Dicky. Here, pisky, says Dicky Stoggs, which one of these hundreds of identical trees is your gold hid under? And Skillywidden said, that one. Yippee, yells Dicky Stoggs, and throws himself on the deck, scrabbling and scratching away. I'm going to dig up that busser of gold. I'm going to be... Oh, ow, ouch. Dicky's fingernails were soon chipped and his hands bleeding, and he'd made no impression on the hard ground. It was too hard. What I need, thinks Dicky, is a shovel. But if I go home to get me a shovel, how will I remember which one of these hundreds of identical trees is the gold hid under? Dicky had a good idea. He took off his red scarf and tied it around the special tree. Now all he had to do was to remember that the tree with the scarf round it is the one with the gold under it. But as he turned to set off home, a little voice chirped up. Dicky Stoggs! It was Skillywidden the pisky. Have you quite finished with me, sir? Well, says Dicky, do you see that scarf round that tree? Yes, says Skillywidden. Will you promise not to touch it? I promise, says Skillywidden. And you know the gold what's hid under that tree? Yes, says Skillywidden. Will you promise not to touch it? I promise, says Skillywidden. Well then, I have quite finished with thee, and he can go to blazes for all I care. I'm going to have your gold. Well, I just wish you the best of luck then, Dicky Stoggs, because you're going to need it, boy. And with that, in front of Dicky's very eyes, Skillywidden the pisky turned himself into a big black raven, bundled himself into the air, and flew away over the low edges, cawing, "Ah, ah, ah!" Dicky wasn't the least bit put out by that. He just scattered off home as fast as he could straight. I'm going home. I'm going to get me a shovel. I'm going to dig up that busser of gold. I'm going to... Oh, what a sight greets Dicky's eyes. The cows in the cornfield. Crop stanked flat. Ruined. Worse, the sheepfold's empty. They've disappeared to the four winds. You'll never see them again. Worse yet, the thatch has blown right off his cottage, and all his possessions are dancing around in the wind. That don't make no never mind, grunts Dicky Stoggs. I can buy the whole lot bram flam new when I get that busser of gold. And he put the shovel over his shoulder and scat off to the woods as fast as he could strike. I've got my shovel I'm going to dig up that buss of gold. I'm going to be rich. What sight greets Dickie's eyes? A tree with a red scarf round it. Another tree with a red scarf round it. Another. And another. And another. Every single tree in the wide wood had a red scarf round it. Dickie ran from tree to tree, but it was no use. Every scarf was identical to his own. It would take 100 years to dig a hole beneath every tree in the wood. That trisky old pisky has fair caught me out, says Dickie Stoggs. He began to trudge home to start the long job of putting his troubles to rights. And should you be up, Trewartha, and bump into Dickie Stoggs, he'll tell you straight. Never ask a pisky where his gold's hid to. That's the brave tale of Skillywidden.